If you've been wanting to start your online business for a while, but you keep putting it off and you've got like a journal full of ideas, this 3-part video series is for you. No more procrastinating, no more second guessing. I am going to walk you through all of the steps so that you're taking action towards starting your online business, not just talking about it. I'm not giving you theory, I'm not giving you fluff. I want you to do this in real time as you're watching this video. So for day one, let's dive in. The first thing you need to understand before you start your online business is why you haven't started it yet. And we're going to dive deep into some brain science, how your brain works, what it's doing, how it's holding you back, and why you keep putting this off, even though you say you want change in your life, but every year nothing actually changes. So your brain has one job. Your brain's job is to keep you alive with as minimal of effort as possible. So if you catch yourself like living on autopilot, slightly dissatisfied with your life, that's because your brain's job is literally to keep you alive and conserve energy at the same time. So it runs loops over and over, and it just keeps you in the familiar. Your brain only likes two things: repetition and familiarity, even if what the familiar is toxic for you. That's why a lot of people who grew up experiencing violence end up in relationships that also represent violence, right? And I'm sure you've read the self-help books. If you're landed on my page, you've probably done this work and you probably understand how we have like attachment and issues and avoidance issues, and it's all rooted in like what our beliefs are. But what was missing from that cognitive behavioral therapy, which we're going to dive deep into on day 2, is actually the understanding of how to rewire that. You can have all the awareness in the world. You can spend years chasing awareness about why you do the things you do, but that doesn't help you if you're not rewiring. If you're like me, you've probably been saving reels on your phone. You're probably like, ooh, that's good advice. But then you never actually do anything. And you feel really busy planning for your online business. And the reason that you don't take action is because anytime you try to do something new that's not familiar to your brain sends an alarm system. That's your amygdala. Your brain perceives change as danger because, like we talked about, it's trying to keep you on autopilot. So whenever you do something new, it's like, no, that's when you get like the tightness in your chest or the flood of thoughts where it's like, oh, this is not going to work. What if I look stupid? What if I fail? There's no point in doing this. That's your brain just trying to protect you from the unknown. And I want to dive a little bit deeper into this with you. By helping you understand, your brain actually moves away from pain faster than it does to move towards pleasure. Think about it. When you go to touch a hot stove, your reaction is to pull away from the hot stove. Like your brain is wired to keep you alive. So it makes sense. And the reason I need you to understand this is whatever goal you're having, either online business related or not, the reason that you're not moving towards that goal is because somewhere inside of you, in your subconscious mind, you have linked that goal to pain. I call these your neuro-response loops. A lot of people call them network associations or just neuro associations. I like to call them neuro-response loops because it feels like you have a little bit of control, because it's what's happening is your brain is responding to something and you can choose to respond differently. And we're going to walk through how to do that. So first, let's break down what a neuro-response loop is. It is just this unconscious link, this meaning that you have attached to something. Let's say your goal is to work out, but you can't get your ass off the couch to actually do anything. That's because somewhere along the way, you have attached meaning to working out as it's going to be painful. It's going to be hard. I'm not going to succeed at it. It's not going to work out for me. You can pause this video right now. Is write down 3 of your goals. And I want you to write next to them any kind of pain situation you have associated to those goals. It's very important you understand what pain you're associating, because bringing awareness to that is going to help you interrupt that loop. And we're going to talk about how to interrupt that loop shortly. Where have you attached comfort to staying the same? Because the truth is, it is uncomfortable. Trying something new is fucking uncomfortable. Look at little kids. Look at how much they fall when they're learning how to walk. Like, that's not enjoyable, falling over, but they keep getting up to it because their brain hasn't had long enough to really attach that meaning to it. It's not like ingrained in their brain. That loop is not strong enough. It's not running in the background. But if you think about your childhood and you think about the things that you've associated pain with, it could also be representative of just what you've seen. But that's not your reality. You are not that person. It's the same thing with money. If you grew up thinking having a lot of money was hard, if you heard your parents having conversations like, they shouldn't be allowed to make that much money and they should be taxing the rich more and blah, 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 you probably have a painful association to people who make a great amount of wealth. You probably view them as bad. You have that pain association. So really sit down and think hard about your 3 goals. What is the pain that I have subconsciously or consciously attached to this goal that is preventing me to take action? Because, like I said, your brain moves faster away from pain than it does towards pleasure. Even if you're thinking about all the wonderful things that starting an online business is going to give you, your brain is still going to drive that neuro-response loop and overpower whatever good feelings, whatever desires, whatever pleasure you have towards that goal with the pain. Now, moving on to interrupting this neuro-response loop. I told you, you're not just going to leave this video with notes. We're going to do this in real time. You've now written down your goals. Hopefully you paused the video, written down your goals, and discovered some of the pain that has come with these goals. The first step to interrupt this is having awareness, okay? We now have awareness. Awesome. The second step to interrupting the loop is naming it. Name where this pain came from. And if you can't, it doesn't really matter. Don't get hung up on this part, but just name that this is not yours anymore. I don't want to hold this anymore. I actually do desire to have more. I do desire to start this business. And although I understand my brain is protecting me, this is not who I am. This is not who I want to be. I don't want to be scared. I actually want to accomplish this goal. It feels very cringe at first. You will get used to this. You will be that crazy person that just starts talking to themselves all the time. I do it all the time. My husband's always like, what did you say? And I was like, no, just talking to myself. It's just normal in our house. The next step, this is crucial, is interrupting the loop by sending your brain a new message. If your brain is stuck in freeze, let's say you're like, okay, I'm going to buy my domain for my business today, and you freeze and you start overthinking and you're procrastinating and you're like, this isn't going to work. You're in a neuro-response loop. You are now attaching pain. So you need to interrupt it, call it what it is. Oh shit, I'm procrastinating. Not because I don't know, not because it's not going to be the right name, but because I'm stuck in this neuro-response loop. So you need to send your brain a new message, one that is not a feeling of stress, not a feeling of anxiety, not that feeling of fear. And how we do that is by changing our state. And it's very simple, and I want to give you an example. Let's say you're trying to be really sad, okay? Like a sad person, like probably hunched over and stuff and just like look sad. Just do this with me while you're watching the video. Now, try to be sad still, but like start to put your arms way up, okay? Kind of move your feet. Just like move them a little bit. Just start dancing. And then like make yourself really open, like really big. Like it's impossible not to smile. Like one, I feel ridiculous. And so I'm laughing at myself. But also when you open and when you do things like power stances, I'm sure you've heard of power stances through TED Talk videos, you literally are changing your state. You are sending your brain a new message. So the third step to interrupting this loop is changing your state, whether that's doing what I'm doing now or putting on a song that you love or grabbing your favorite drink, whatever makes you feel good, whatever makes you feel pleasure. We are changing the association with the task in real time. And that's how we move on to the fourth step of creating the new loop. When we start working on a business task that we're procrastinating it or trying to overthink or plan because of pain, we're going to bring that pleasure into it. And then we're going to be like, oh my God, this is so much fun. I'm so excited. I can't believe I'm going to buy my domain right now. This is the start of something huge. This is the start of a big chapter. Yes, fake it till you make it. Because fake it till you make it is not faking it. You are literally rewiring in time. Your brain listens to your body. That's it. Not the thoughts that you're trying to force into it, not the discipline, not the motivation, not that coach that's telling you what to do, not the podcast you listen to. Your brain listens to your body. So teach it that this experience is actually pleasurable. And the fifth step to this is celebration. This is the most important piece, and I talk about this all the time. You've probably seen me celebrating 1 subscriber on YouTube. Are you kidding me? This is amazing. Your brain does not know the difference between winning $1 million or finding $1 on the street. Your brain only knows what your body tells it. So when you do the task, you associate it with pleasure and you celebrate that you did the task and you celebrate that you rewired this neuro-response loop. Your brain is going to want to do it again. That is the internal motivation that you guys have been looking for in all those books that are like, how do I get motivated? How do I get habits to stick? That's it. You reward every small step that you take towards your goal, and you reward it like you've already crushed your goal. You make such a big deal of it that your brain can't ignore it, and your brain loves that dopamine hit, and it will help you to move further and further towards those goals again. So that is really neuro-response loops, the pain-pleasure association, how to interrupt them all in one. Now we're moving on, because this is really going to set us up for the next video where we get to start to visualize what our life looks like and step into the kind of person that needs to do that. And in order to have that, in order to step into becoming the person that holds a lot of wealth, runs the business, shows up for her family, all the goals that you have for yourself, we need to let go of who we are not. And that is huge. Just think of yourself as an onion. You're just like the tiny little piece in the middle. I wish I knew what that piece was called right now, but I don't. And all of these layers have been put on you and on you over childhood. And let me just be very straightforward here. This is not blame or shame. I'm not going to ask you to go write a letter to your parents and no, that shit is stupid. We need to focus on moving forward. You want to sit in a counseling office for the next 5 years of life? You can unpack all the ways the world has done you wrong. You can unpack all of your trauma. You can unpack all the things your parents did. And I'm not saying it's okay that any of that stuff has happened to you, but if you allow yourself to be a victim of those circumstances, instead of taking leadership and moving forward with your life, you are never going to change. So what I'm actually talking about here is taking all the stuff that drains you, that holds you back, that occupies too much space in your brain, and we're going to let it go through rewiring our brain. So what is identity? Identity is the beliefs that you carry about yourself, about the world, about your reality and what's possible for you. It's the decisions that you make, as well as the actions that align with those decisions. And then it's the evidence that your brain collects to reinforce those thoughts, to reinforce the beliefs, right? So the biggest part of your brain that's at play here is your reticular activating system. It is the filter for your brain. It filters in millions of pieces of data every single second. So what it chooses to filter and what it chooses to filter out is based on what you continuously tell yourself, right? Familiarity and repetition. That's all your brain cares about. So your brain will always find evidence to match this reality that you are currently living in. I see this with my friends all the time that are like, oh, all the guys are the same and I can't find my person. I'm like, you literally have probably swiped past them a million times, but your brain is just not allowing you to see those opportunities because your brain just keeps pulling you back to the familiar. And your actions are always going to align with what you believe is possible. I have this beautiful motto on my upstairs wall, right where I work in my kitchen sometimes. And it says, if I truly believed that everything was going to work out the way that I wanted it to work out, what would I choose to do right now? That one little sentence has completely changed my life. Because even, for example, when I'm like arguing with my partner and I don't really want to resolve, I want to sit in that silent treatment kind of way and I just want to be like a little bit of a bitch about it, I will look at that and read, if I believed that we were just going to be like having the best day today, even though we were not feeling good, what would I choose to do? I would choose to probably not be a bitch. I would choose to be like, hey, what do you want for breakfast? I'd love to make you breakfast this morning. And so it really has brought me back into leadership mode every single time. And in my business, when I'm spinning, when I think things are not working, oh my God, I'm not making enough money in my business, I'm not helping enough people, my students aren't gonna like me. Like when I start getting those thoughts and I start trying to make decisions from a place of like scarcity and desperation, I just bring myself back with that one sentence. So I hope you can carry that forward. But I kind of got off track here, so let's get back to identity. What you are gonna do right now is you are going to unlearn what isn't yours, what you were never meant to carry, what was never supposed to be a part of who you are, okay? You were not born doubting yourself. You were not born with those fears and insecurities. As human beings, is we seek safety and belonging. We want to be loved and we want to be accepted. And that's what we need. Those are things we develop over time. That fear, and it can be small little comments that were made to us from friends. It can be comments from our parents. It can be all those times where somebody told you to be quiet, you're too much, you're too loud, you're too this. And a lot of women that are in this space that start the business, we have been told we're too much. And then we shrink and we fall back into these kind of people-pleasing patterns, but that's not who you were actually meant to be. You were born with enoughness. I want to make that really clear. You are enough in all that you are. Right now, you just have all these extra layers that were never yours to carry. Society kind of has these unspoken rules, right? And I think they're there in a good place. Like I think manners are really important. And this is a good time for you to pause and reflect on what your values are. What are your values that you've created for yourself and which values have you inherited? And I'm not saying you need to throw all those away because a lot of inherited values are really good and things you want to carry forward and pass down for generations to come. But some of those values might not be good and they might actually be holding you back. So that's a huge piece of identity because your values shape your beliefs and what you have about yourself, about people around you, and about the world. So really get deep, pause the video again, reflect on like, what are my actual values? What are the things I was taught to value? For me, that was like having a stable job. It was really driven into my head that I needed a job with benefits and I needed a job with pension. Nowhere in that conversation ever my entire life was like, pursue what you love, go for your passion, start your own business, give yourself that opportunity and freedom. So, like, my brain was like, no, no, this is what's important. This is what we value. And I believed that that was the only way to live. And a lot of us were brought up believing that, right? But for a lot of you that are listening to this, you have a sense of knowing. There's something inside of you right now that's like, no, no, I'm meant for more. I have a purpose, and you can't ignore that. That little calling, it does not go away. You can procrastinate, you can push it off as much as you want. It never goes away. So I'm glad you're here today investing time into this. For women is because we are born with a nurturing brain. Our brain literally changes when in pregnancy and after childbirth. They talk about pregnant brain where you're like, oh, I feel so dumb, I have pregnant brain. It's real. That's a real thing because there's a bunch of studies that the gray matter shifts so that you can follow more of your intuition and less of the cognitive processing part of your brains, less of that prefrontal cortex that kind of goes offline so that when you have your baby, it's instinctual. You have maternal instincts driving it, which is why it's so hard for women to put their needs first. It's like as we evolved, that didn't catch up with the evolution. And so a lot of us do self-abandon, we settle for less. And then we teach other people to show up for us that way too. Because like I always say, how can you expect people to show up for you in ways that you are unwilling to show up for yourself? That is something you need to unlearn. If you want to be successful with an online business, with any business, you need to unlearn all of the ways that you abandon yourself and put other people ahead of you. And no, that doesn't mean like neglect everybody in your household, but it means taking time to honor your needs first. That's like the first step to really becoming a person that can hold the amount of success and the identity that you want. The other thing a lot of women are taught is like, what is a good woman? What does a good woman look like? I would love for you to either comment below this video or write it out in your journal. Like, what were you taught a good woman is versus who do you want to be? How do you want to show up as a good woman? Really think about this. It's going to challenge your brain. It's going to challenge your beliefs so hard because you're going to be like, no, that's selfish. It's not selfish. Putting your needs first is not selfish. It's not, you can't pour from an empty cup. I'm sure you've heard all of those analogies and those metaphors about how women have to take care of themselves and blah, blah, blah. But it's actual brain science. When you honor your needs, you teach your brain that you are important. When you teach your brain that you are important, your brain will do things that you prioritize as important, like work on the goal, go to the gym, start the online business, work on your relationship, whatever goal you have. When you teach your brain that you are important, your brain will start honoring that as we root those in identity. We're going to talk more about habits and goals in the next video, but I just want to kind of preface that now. Another question I really want you to ask yourself is, what is something that you have been avoiding because you're waiting to feel ready? Now, this comes back to one of the biggest layers in society is that we need permission to do anything. Think about it. This is so ingrained in you. You have to ask for permission to go to the bathroom as a child, right? It's fucking crazy. In my mind, it's absolutely bonkers that you have to ask to go to the bathroom. It's so ingrained in us that we need permission from somebody who has authority, somebody who has power. There's so many people that come into this space and they start telling me their ideas of how they want to help people. And they're like, yeah, but like, I don't think I'm qualified. What does that even mean? What does being qualified even mean? Tony Robbins, at the age of like 18 or 19, he was told that he was not allowed to coach people. He was told by a mentor that you are not allowed to help people because you don't have the certification to help people. Look at him fucking now. Like, are you kidding me? No permission needed. I've already decided. That is all you need. So every time you catch yourself in that loop of like, I'm not ready, or like you're waiting for permission, or I'm not qualified, you don't need permission. You have lived through things and you have gone through experiences that have shaped who you are. And you are unique with all of those. Nobody else has the same experiences, the same knowledge, the same passions as you. That is your permission. And of course, there's a place where we need rules. Like, we wouldn't function as a society without this. But when it comes to your own goals, you don't need fucking permission. As long as you're not hurting yourself and hurting other people, no permission needed. I've already decided this is what deciding looks like, literally in real time. I want you to write down one belief you have about yourself, something that contributes to your identity that you know is holding you back. And I want you to let it go. I want you to say it out loud. I want you to either write it down, put it on a piece of paper, rip it up, light it on fire, safely, of course. Whatever you need to do to be like, I am not carrying this forward any longer. This is not part of who I want to be. Understand how you were shaped to believe that about yourself, how you were shaped to hold that as your identity. Your brain believes you are who you tell it you are. And to wrap this all up, I want you to write down 3 things in your life that absolutely drain you. They're just like soul sucking, can't stand it. It can be people, it can be things, it can be chores, it can be something at work, it can be a certain task, like whatever. I just want you to write down 3 things that drain you. And in the next video, I'm going to teach you how to be done with it, because obviously like we can't just like stop doing our chores, right? You still have to clean your house and stuff. And if that's what drains you the most, we're going to talk about how to clean our house in a way that doesn't drain us so that we're still like showing up and not living in filth, but from a new identity that can actually hold wealth. It's okay for your life to look really good on paper, but for you to also want more. 2 things can be true at the same time. Stop gaslighting yourself into having gratitude as a way to avoid living a life that fulfills you. I will see you in the next video where we are going to start stepping into the identity that you truly desire so that you can start accomplishing your goals from a place where that motivation comes easy, where showing up is easy, where you have the confidence and the consistency to follow through. As always, I have an unwavering belief in your potential, and I wish you nothing but success.